very fortunate this morning to have a speaker that I'm sure we all have heard about before. This is Dr. Anthony Stringer. He's a retired neuropsychologist and professor emeritus in the Emory School of Medicine. He is the lead author of Imani Rituals, Nurturing African American Spiritual Heritage, written by Ayanna Coffey and Reverend Duncan Teague. It's about Unitarian Universalist rituals inspired by the cultures of the African diaspora. Dr. Stringer is currently a lay minister and is the lead lay liturgist at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. So please, if you will, help me welcome Dr. Anthony Stringer.
I'd like to also introduce my new friend, Amos Warren. It's the first time he and I have worked together. His voice is amazing. My voice is failing, unfortunately. I'm getting over a cold. So you'll be blessed to hear his voice, and you'll have to tolerate mine. Also, I've been told to say, this sermon is a little bit long. I usually give it in a service that doesn't have as much music because there's music in the sermon. So you are free to get up and do whatever you want. If you need to leave, that's okay, as long as you have a smile. Just as bitterness heightens our ability to recognize what is truly sweet, just as darkness gives us an appreciation of light, just as the presence of evil affords us the power to discern what is good, so our passage through the bitter, the dark, the evil years of enslavement made us, America's Africans, the quintessential seekers of freedom. And though we are here to celebrate, to lift up the light of freedom, we must begin by acknowledging the darkness that came before, looking back on our journey to freedom. Only 58,000 Americans were killed in the Vietnam War. A mere 900,000 people lost their lives in the Civil War. Now, it seems wrong. It seems insensitive to use words like mere or only when speaking of 900,000 or even 58,000 once living souls. But I'm forced to. Though it turns my stomach, I'm forced to say that a mere 1.5 million Vietnamese lost their lives in the Vietnam War. Only when we speak of the 20th century's greatest evil, the Jewish Holocaust, do we exceed the number of lives lost during America's slave trade. 3 million Africans lost their lives on their way to enslavement before they even reached America's shores. Add to this the conservatively estimated 11 million Africans who survived to live out their days in the most brutal system of slavery humankind ever imagined. I say conservatively estimated because more radically minded scholars are apt to put the number of enslaved Africans somewhere around 15 million. Now, human beings can't comprehend numbers that large. You can't picture 15 million or 11 million or even 3 million. The numbers are just too big. To help you understand the sheer number of people involved, if we took the 11 million enslaved Africans and the 3 million who died before they landed in America, if we took them, assumed they were of average height and laid them end to end, their bodies would stretch completely around the earth 16 times. This image may help you grasp the numbers but it does not speak to the pain, to the human suffering. For that, we must turn to the song. The truth of what lies in the African American soul is nowhere, if not in our music. And it's here that we find the most poignant image of what was suffered. The image of the child far from their mother's arms and a long way from their home.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home, a long way from home. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. Sometimes I feel like I'm almost gone. A long way from home. A long way from home.
A long way from home. A long way from the familiar. Far from the sights and sounds of the savannah and the rainforest. Far from the talk, the dance, the ritual, the gods that bound brother to sister, to father, to mother, to cousin, to village, to tradition, to ancestors, to life, to nature. A long way from home. And what was this strange new religion that justified cruelty to the body in the interest of salvation for the soul? Who was this God who commanded obedience and submission to the master and the mistress? Listen to the words of the Right Reverend William Meade, Bishop to the Diocese of Virginia. Some he hath made masters and mistresses, and some he hath made servants and slaves. Almighty God hath been pleased to make you slaves here, and to give you nothing but labor and poverty in this world, which you are obliged to submit to, as it is his will that it should be so. Your bodies, you know, are not your own. They are at the disposal of those you belong to. So very far from home. But this strange new religion was nothing if not full of contradictions. For while it said all this, it also said, "Come to me, all that labor and are heavy, and I will give you rest." And its stories were not simply the tales of the defeated and the downtrodden, but rather of the downtrodden rising up, of the vanquished returning to fight yet again, of the meek overcoming the mighty, of righteousness prevailing, of evil reaping its just and overdue reward. For the language of the Bible has always seemed to lend itself to being twisted and manipulated by charlatans, demagogues, and fools. Its essential truth, its message of goodness and humanity is never long disguised. The Right Reverend Meade had to do quite a bit of pirouetting to justify his bizarre interpretation of the Jewish and Christian traditions. But it did not take much of a leap for the slave to see a parallel in their own circumstances when they look to the Bible. It did not take much imagination for the slave to put himself in the place of the oppressed Jew when they listened to the story of Israel in Egypt's land.
When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go. We need not always weep and moan. Let my people go. And wear these slavery chains forlorn. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh to let my people go.
We need not always weep and moan and wear these slavery chains forlorn. Let my people go. It takes guts to preach that right under the slave masters and the overseers' watchful eyes. But that is exactly the message sermonized by the black plantation preachers as they adopted Christianity, as they took this foreign male god and made him their own. While the slave's God was male, the slave's Moses was not. But she was often referred to as the old man. While still in her 20s, Harriet Tubman left behind her home and her husband because she was determined to find her freedom. Her husband, John Tubman, was a rarity in the South. He was a free black man, and he was content with his own freedom. It didn't matter that his wife was not free and was subject to be sold away at any time. When threatened with being sold, Harriet Tubman struck out alone in search of her freedom. She walked alone at night for over 100 miles. She was guided only by the North Star of the Big Dipper, or as it was known by the enslaved, the North Star of the drinking gourd. Tubman eventually reached Pennsylvania, where she became a free woman. Unlike her husband, however, she was never content with just her own freedom. Though she never said it, in her heart she must have known that no one is free as long as someone is enslaved. So Tubman returned to the slave states 15 times, helping some 300 slaves escape with her back to the North. Despite a $40,000 price on her head, she was never apprehended and never lost a man, a woman, or a child on the way to freedom. Wow. It was in song that this woman's presence was surreptitiously announced on the plantation. And it is in song that this woman is best memorialized. This woman whom they affectionately called the old man. This woman of the Underground Railroad whom they reverently called the conductor. This woman who was so like a Moses.
Follow the drinking gourd, follow the drinking gourd, for the old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. When the sun comes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd. The old man is a-waiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Now the river bank makes a mighty good road. The trees will show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, traveling on. Follow the drinking gourd. Now the river ends between two hills. Follow the drinking gourd. There's another river on the other side. Follow the drinking gourd.
There were many conductors along the Underground Railroad, many liberators, black and white, in the abolitionist movement, and many important names are unknown. The names of the estimated 40 to 100,000 fugitive men, women, and children who found their way to freedom have mostly not come down to us through history. But as important as escape may have been, it was not enough. Some evils you can't run from. Some evils you have to confront. And so it was ultimately with American slavery. The confrontation began with slave revolts. Though few are well documented, there were in fact hundreds of revolts of various sizes. These revolts were led by the likes of Gabriel Prosser, a black man who stood 6 feet 2 inches tall and wore his hair long like his biblical idol, Samson. He organized as many as 1,000 enslaved people in a revolt in the summer of 1800, which, had it not been for a sudden severe storm, would have captured Richmond, Virginia, as it was defended only by 300 men with 30 muskets. Revolts led by the men like Denmark Vesey. Freed from slavery with money he won in a lottery, he nonetheless devoted his life to the cause of freedom for all African Americans. Inspired by Toussaint Louverture's Black Revolution in Haiti, Vesey organized a rebellion that involved 9,000 enslaved people in South Carolina. When this rebellion was betrayed and 130 of his co-conspirators were arrested, only one man broke under torture to betray Vesey. Nat Turner's rebellion in 1831 panicked the entire state of Virginia. And later, the white militant abolitionist John Brown led a raid on Harper's Ferry, Virginia, that arguably helped spark the final conflagration, the Civil War itself. In mentioning them, we must not forget that these were violent men, men so desperate for their freedom that they were willing to kill indiscriminately. But they were also admirable in their courage and in their passion for freedom. At his trial, when asked to account for his actions, Gabriel Prosser answered, "I have nothing more to offer than what General Washington would have said had he been taken by the British and put to trial by them. I've endeavored to obtain the liberty of my countrymen and am a willing sacrifice to their cause. And I beg, as a favor, that I may be immediately led to my execution."
Oh, freedom. Going home. dominion over me. And before I'd be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave, going home to my Lord and be free.
Before I'd be a slave, I'd be buried in my grave. Take my life before you take my freedom. Liberty is just that dear. We must not forget, though, that we backed into liberty. Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator, had to be dragged by circumstance, by political necessity, into doing the thing he is most remembered for. Lincoln believed that every slave in this country should be free. Eventually. What turned eventuality into actuality was the secession of the slave states from the American Union. Between 1860 to 1861, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, Arkansas, Virginia, and Tennessee left the United States of America so that they could keep their slaves. Though the North was in a far better position than the South to fight and win a war, many of the early victories went to the South, and there was the danger that the South would win foreign support. The slaves had to be freed to assure the North would win the war. If I could save the Union, Lincoln declared, without freeing one slave, I would do it. But he could not. And so in September of 1862, Lincoln threatened to do the thing he hoped would not be necessary. He gave the South from September to January to call the whole war thing off. Or else he would declare the slaves of the rebel states free. No one knew, including Lincoln himself, whether he would make good on his threat. As late as December, Lincoln wavered, waiting for his generals to decisively win a battle because, as his Secretary of State put it, he didn't want freeing the slaves to appear to be, quote, the last measure of an exhausted government. A cry for help. The government stretching forth its hand to Ethiopia, instead of Ethiopia stretching forth her hands to the government. Close quote. It was unseemly for a white nation to need the colored folks, but need them it most certainly did. And not just to win a war, not just to save a union, but to save a nation's soul, to save a nation's humanity. Oppression always claims two victims, the oppressed and the oppressor. You cannot brutalize, you cannot put down another human being and not irrevocably corrupt your own soul. Oppression can make you rich, but its price is your humanity. When you listen to the words of the next hymn, "We Shall Overcome," think about the we. Think about why it isn't they shall overcome or we will help them overcome. Think about why it's we shall overcome. My freedom depends upon yours, just as your freedom depends upon mine.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we
On January 1st, 1863, Lincoln declared the slaves of the Confederate States forever free. And on January 31st, 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment, abolishing slavery throughout all of the United States. America began the process of freeing the captive Africans, and just as importantly, began the process of freeing itself. The welcome word of freedom was slow to spread, but wherever it spread, whenever it spread, freedom was celebrated. Word of their emancipation didn't reach the slaves in Texas until June 19th, 6 months after the 13th Amendment passed. I suspect there's still some parts of Texas that haven't gotten the word. But this is what we celebrate when we celebrate Juneteenth. Getting the message, getting the welcome word of freedom. Juneteenth is the oldest continuously celebrated African American holiday. Before Juneteenth became a national holiday, Emancipation Day celebrations traditionally occurred at different times in different parts of the country. But it doesn't matter when it's celebrated, only that it is celebrated. History is remembered and passed on from generation to generation. We look back, though it is sometimes painful to do so. We look back to honor those struggles that went on before us. We look back so that we can move forward.
We are dancing, Sarah, circle. We are dancing, Sarah, circle. We are dancing, Sarah, circle. Sisters, brothers, all. Here we seek and find our history. Here we seek and find our history. Here we seek and find our history. Sisters, brothers, all. Every round of generation, every round of generation, every round of generation, brothers, sisters, all. On and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving, on and on the circles moving. Sisters, brothers, all.
Sarah's circle is an ever-widening circle. I proclaim the right of women to be free of violence, sexual harassment, and the fear that they engender. Sarah's circle is an ever-widening circle. I proclaim the freedom of the sick and the disabled, a freedom dependent upon access to health care based on need and not greed. Sarah's circle is an ever-widening circle. I proclaim freedom of sexual preference and gender expression for the LGBTQIA+ community. Sarah's circle is an ever-widening circle. I proclaim the freedom of all genders to be strong when strength is called for, and to be gentle when gentleness is needed. Sarah's circle is an ever-widening circle. I proclaim the right of children to be free of violence, abuse, neglect, hunger, and all else that will restrict their reaching their highest potential. Sarah's circle is an ever-widening circle. I proclaim to fully participate the right to fully participate in American society for all who share this land, whether by birthright, by documented, or by undocumented immigration. No one of us is free until all of us are free.
Here, here. Yeah.
Sarah's circle is an ever-widening circle. Please join us in singing together our final hymn, Singing for Our Lives, in your songbook, page 101. And please rise.
Although, don't worry with the words in the songbook. We're only going to sing the first verse and then we'll call out. Okay. We are gentle, loving people. You all know it, right? Please stand as you're willing and able. And thank you, Tony.
Gentle.
We